Yam prabhujantam anupetam upeta kritam daipana viraha katarajuhava putreti tam mayotaro vinedus tam sarvabhutam nidayam animanatus namasishtam anumapi sachivitam trasarupam rupamatasya rajarupurim maturim goshtavatim radha kundama girivaramaho radhika madhavasam prabdo yasya pratitaya shri guru tam natosmi Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Vandeham Shri Guru Varam Shri Rupanam Pravaram Prachirasasitam Charanayanam Kamrapanam Shri Guru Charanam Vande Ramanatishthaya Bhutale Rupanam Bhaktitam Chirakripamurti Narayana Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Madhuri Vinayshchittam Maram Marenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tam Shri Sadhamani Radhanastinam Nante Ramnyache Punam Punam Srimad Rupa Padam Bodha Duti Shama Janma Janmani Vairagya Yuk Bhaktim Rasam Prayatnayana Payamam Vim Sumandam Kripam Buddhivya Paradukka Dukki Sanatanam Tam Prabhum Ashrayami Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jai Rup Sanatana Bhaktivedanta Shri Jeev Gopal Bhaktadasarana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I offer my Shastanga Dhanvat Pranams at the lotus feet of our spiritual masters Nitla Vishtam Vishnupada Stota Sada Shri Bhaktivedanta Shri Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Vijay Glories, Vishnupada Stota Sada Shri Bhaktivedanta Shri Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Vijay Dalvanabadi Gurvarga all the sannyasis, Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis present today. So we all will speak a few words on Ekadashi Tithi. So today is called, what is the name of today's Ekadashi? Maharaj? Jai. Now it's Vijay. The previous Ekadashi was called Jai. This is called Vijay. The previous Ekadashi was called Bhaimi Ekadashi. This is called Vijaya Ekadashi. What does Vijay mean? Victory. Especially Vishesh Rupena Jai. Means special form of victory. Like we say in our temple, every time we recite the Jayadhwani. Every time. Now how many times a day? Maybe 5 times a day. In fact, Gurudev says as soon as you wake up early in the morning, the first thing you must do is get down from your bed, offer pranams to the ground and recite the Jayadhwani. He says this. This is the way you start your day. Recite the Jayadhwani, glorify the Guru Varga. Because when you're saying Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Srila Param Gurudev Ki Jai, Prabhupada Ki Jai, what does it imply? It implies that you are saying all glories to our Gurudev on one side. And on the other side, what does it imply? It implies that all these anarthas that I have, like lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, envy, whatnot, so many unlimited number of anarthas. On the other side, all these anarthas are being defeated. One side, victory to our Guru Varga, on another side, defeat to our anarthas. No. These anarthas, they're making us suffer so much. No. They're choking us now. No, they're like strangling us. They got us by the throat like this now. So we have to, now we're in a war. No, we're in a war with the anarthas. Now we should not run away from this war. We must fight. We must fight and face the enemy. And what is the enemy? It's the mind and the anarthas. So this way, when we're saying Jai, 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 then it means all these anarthas are being defeated. So Vijay means special form of victory. Because just defeating our anarthas is one thing, which is secondary. What is primary? Primary is the attainment of Shuddha Bhakti, pure Bhakti. This is the primary attainment. We do not focus much on our anarthas. We keep focusing on anarthas, thinking I have this anartha, that anartha, this anartha, that anartha. Then the possibility of focusing on the positive side will never arise within our hearts. We'll keep thinking only about the negative thing. Focus on the positive, that is life. No. Like we hear, Gurudev would always say, first bhakti enters your heart. And as much as bhakti enters your heart, to that degree, all these anarthas will leave. No. Prema bhakti chahaite, avidya vinasha jati, vedegai jahara charito. So first here, what does Narottam Thakur say? Prema bhakti chahaite, avidya vinasha jati. First, prema bhakti awakens within one's heart. And then, avidya vinasha jati. Then avidya is destroyed. No. Then avidya is destroyed, then as much as prema bhakti awakens within our heart. Because what has been said in the Bhagavatam, Vikritam Brajavadubhir idam cha Vishnu Shraddhanvita anushnaya athavannayedva Bhakti param bhagavati pratilapya kamam hriddogam asva abhinoti achirena dhiraha. So Gurudev Goswami is saying that as and when you listen to this Raslila, this Raskatha, more and more, then what happens? Bhakti param bhagavati pratilapya kamam. This parama bhakti, Swarup Siddha bhakti. When we are speaking of bhakti here, we are not speaking of Arup Siddha bhakti or Sangha Siddha bhakti. What are we speaking of? Swarup Siddha bhakti. What is Arup Siddha bhakti? Yes. Means you're superimposing your conceptions on bhakti when they are not actually pure bhakti. Like if you like something, you're saying, alright, I like this, so then I'm going to superimpose my liking on bhakti. This is Arup Siddha. No. Then what is Sangha Siddha bhakti? So here, what Maharaj means to say is that Sangha Siddha Bhakti means there are certain qualities which are very conducive to Bhakti. Like being non-violent, not being envious, being peaceful, controlling the senses, controlling your mind, not being always striving for the welfare of others, not thinking about anyone's, not being detrimental to one's welfare. So these are all good qualities. No? Like in India also they always say ahimsa paramo dharma. The paramo dharma is ahimsa, non-violence. So all these qualities, they are very conducive for the cultivation of bhakti, but the question arises, are they in and themselves bhakti? Are they bhakti? No, they are not bhakti. No, like Harishchandra in India, there's a very famous king. Everyone knows about Harishchandra. Every person associated with Vedic culture, more or less, he knows about Raja Harishchandra. What was he famous for? Being truthful. For being dharmic. And especially truthful. He's called Satya Harishchandra. In India, they made so many movies about him. The first picture ever made in India, the first bona fide picture, cinema ever made in India, was in the life of Harishchandra. That was the first one ever made. Because previously they thought they could use cinema as a medium, as a tool to make people more inclined towards Dharma. So that was the first picture ever made on Harishchandra. So what was he renowned for? For being truthful. No. So here we see Harishchandra, he made sure that he always spoke the truth. He made sure that everyone in his country, every citizen always spoke the truth, would never speak a lie. Because as and when you speak the truth, then what will happen? People start believing in your words. But if you cultivate the habit of speaking lies, then what happens? Then even if you speak the truth, people will not believe you. So to speak the truth is actually a very good quality. One should lie. So Harishchandra would always speak the truth. But Vishwamitra, he foresaw that in Harishchandra's dynasty, this dynasty of Ikshvaku, the Surya Vansha, Maryada Purushottam, Sri Ramachandra will appear in this dynasty. So I should make him prepared to welcome Ram. And if he is only inclined to speaking the truth, and if he is not cultivating any bhakti, then what is the use of being truthful? So what did Vishwamitra do? He appeared in Harishchandra's dream. Because Vishwamitra was a Siddha yogi. He could appear in anyone's dreams, he could do anything he wished like. So then he appeared in Harishchandra's dream and he told him, I'm asking for one donation from you. I'm asking for charity from you. So then Harishchandra said, oh, Prabhu, what do you seek? He said, I seek your kingdom. And Harishchandra was thinking, all right. He said, I'm giving my kingdom away. And he said, not only your kingdom, I seek like 1 million gold coins also. As dakshina. Means if you're giving something, you also give some dakshina to finalize your charity. Harishchandra said, all right, I'm giving you. This was in his dream. So then when he woke up, after some time Vishwamitra came there and he reminded Harishchandra, what did I tell you last night in your dream? You remember? He said, yes. Speaking the truth? Yes. What did I ask from you? I asked the kingdom, yes. Then, are you going to give me the kingdom or not? You're so famous for being truthful that you will not budge even 1 inch from the truth. And he said, yes. I promised you my kingdom, I'm giving you my kingdom. Then he said, what about the 1 lakh gold coins? Then Harishchandra, he called his minister, his treasurer, Khajanchi. In Hindi they say, treasurer, come here. Go bring 1 lakh gold coins. So then, he was going, and Vishwamitra said, hey, liar. When the kingdom is mine, when everything is mine, how can you send someone else to bring wealth from my own kingdom? Don't do this. So then Harishchandra said, then what can I do? Then Vishwamitra told him, you go to Kashi. Because Kashi is situated on the Trishul of Lord Shiva. No, Shiva, his main weapon, we can say, is a trident. No, it has like 3 spokes. No, it is trident. So Kashi is situated on that trident, on that Trishul. They said, you go there. Kashi is not part of your kingdom. Kashi is one of the most ancient cities in India, Varanasi. Even now, whenever they do an archaeological survey there, an archaeological dig, they find newer and newer artifacts there, which are so ancient. They cannot, when they're in archaeology, there is one technique called carbon dating. Now, you know what carbon dating is now? They look for a sample and then they measure how many, thousands of years it is old. So when they use this carbon dating on any artifact that they find in Kashi, they cannot even estimate how old this artifact is. It is so old. They cannot even measure the antiquity of this artifact. And every day they keep finding some newer and newer things in Kashi there. In fact, if you look at all the houses in Kashi, around the Kashi Vishwanath temple, they are all actually built on temples. All these homes. Sometimes if you they have put some pictures of all these homes, as soon as you open the doors, you can see the dome of the temple inside the house. They built temples, homes around the temples. A very ancient temple town. Survived millions of years. So this way, Vishwamitra told Harishchandra, you go there. And you somehow give me this dakshina. So then Harishchandra, he took his wife Saibya and his son Rohitasva. So then what happened? He had to sell his wife away, he had to sell his son away, but still he could not pay Vishwamitra entirely. Then finally he became like this watchman of this smashan, of this graveyard. Any person who would have to burn the body would have to give him something, some entry fee, only then he would let that person enter. So then one day Rohitasva, he was bitten by a snake. So then Saibya, she was the maidservant of some person. Then her master was very cruel. Who bought her in the market was very cruel. So then some boys, they bought this lifeless body of Rohitasva. And then what did this master do? He took that boy and threw that boy in front of the lady, saying, here's your son, this useless boy. Now do what you wish, but I don't want his body to be here. Or else he's going to start smelling so much, pollute the entire atmosphere. So then Saibya was weeping so much. My son, he was a prince. He was born into such opulence, such vaibhav, and see what has become of him now. Bit by the snake. Lifeless completely. So then Saibya, she took that boy in her arms. Then she went there to the graveyard And then Harishchandra was standing there. So then she took this boy. And then she went there and she told Harishchandra that, oh, I have to perform the final rites for this boy, my son. But Harishchandra, he couldn't see in the dark. It was completely dark. It was about to rain. But then he told the lady, but still you'll have to give me something. Only then I can let you enter inside. She said, I have nothing. What can I give? Only this dead boy I have in my arms. So then there was a lightning flash. Like a lightning flash, he saw it was his own son, Rohitaswa. Then Harishchandra, he completely devastated. He didn't know what has become of my life. I was the king. Look what has become of me. So then finally, what did he tell Saibya? He said, still, I cannot budge from my dharma. You'll have to give me something. So then, as soon as Harishchandra spoke these words, immediately there, Vishwamitra appeared. Yam Maharaj appeared. All these Mahajans, these Dadash Mahajans, they appeared. Bhagavan appeared. Then they blessed Harishchandra, saying, oh, you will be renowned in the entire world for your truthfulness, for your honesty. But still, Vishwamitra, he told Harishchandra, when you're speaking of the truth, you're only speaking of the truth in terms of your body, mind, senses. This is not the truth. Because ultimately the body will be burnt to ashes one day. It will be thrown inside somewhere, eaten by animals and insects. So all men, you must know what is the eternal truth? That is Bhagavan. He is Tikala Satya. He is the eternal truth that is always present, past, present, future. So he gave this Divya Gyan to Harishchandra, Vishwamitra. Divya Gyanam Yathodadhyat. No, he gave this Divya Gyan and he enlightened him. So then, as soon as Vishwamitra spoke these words, Rohitaswa, he came back to life. He was given life again. And Saibya, everyone, they saw that they were again present in their kingdom as if nothing had happened, as if everything was a dream. So when Harishchandra, he fell at the feet of Bhagavan, he said, Prabhu, you have opened my eyes, but still, the jivas in Kali Yuga, they cannot tolerate such a test. So kindly do not test them in such a way. They cannot tolerate. So Harishchandra was known for that truthfulness. No? Then we see that Maharaj Sibi was a great king in India. In fact, he was even more older than Harishchandra also. He came first, then Harishchandra came later. So Maharaj Sibi, he was known to be a great data, a great donor. Anything you would ask from Maharaj Sibi, he would give. So one day, there was a pigeon flying, and then an eagle was following this pigeon, because the eagle wanted to eat the pigeon. So then this pigeon, it fell at the feet of Maharaj Sibi and said, please protect me, you're the king. King means anyone who is in his kingdom, not just a human being. Every bird, every animal, he will give shelter. So kindly give shelter to me as well. I'm your citizen. Then he said, Sibi said, all right, come here. And he took that pigeon, kept it here in his chest. Then the eagle came there. And the eagle told the king, oh Maharaj, that is my food. No, this is the circle of life. The circle of life, the animal that is weak becomes food for the animal that is strong. So if I do not feed on this pigeon, then where will I get my food from? So if you are doing something, then you are actually obstructing this dharma, righteousness. Then Maharaj Sibi said, all right, you can take anything else except this pigeon. Then he said, all right, give me some flesh which is equal to the amount of this pigeon. Some meat which is equal. Balance it on a scale and give it to me. And Sibi said, all right, I'll give you a part of my own body. And he cut one part of his body. And he put it there in the scale. You take it. But still the scale wasn't balanced. The pigeon was like, the pigeon's weight was even more. And he cut one more part of his body and he placed it there. Still the weight of the pigeon was more. And finally he cut like his hands, his legs, he cut everything. There was nothing left in Sibi. So then finally it was revealed that that pigeon was Indra himself. And that eagle was Dharmaraj. So they enacted that whole Leela just to open his eyes. No, they told Maharaj Sibi that, oh king, you are renowned for being such a great donor, but really what must you give in charity? Whatever you are giving in charity only concerns the body, mind and senses. No. If you are giving some good food to people, if you are giving cloth, if you are giving medicine, it is very good. But will that solve the problem? If one person is diseased and you give him medicine, he becomes healthy again. But then eventually what will he do? When he is healthy again he'll engage in some karma. And that karma can either be vikarma, akarma or kukarma. It can either be like sinful, pious, then again he'll become diseased. And what is the use of giving him medicine? You give food to one person, the next day again he's hungry. You give cloth, again next day he needs more clothes. Still, it is not bad, it is good. But there must be an objective. There must be an uddesha. What is an uddesha? That he cultivates himself spiritually. That he has a spiritual inclination. Then that kind of charity is good. Or else that kind of charity also becomes like aimless. So then Sibi's eyes were opened. So we see Dadichi. Dadichi also was a great rishi. In the Bhagavatam we see Dadichi's name is mentioned in the history of Vritrasur. Vritrasur was previously Chitraketu Maharaj, but he was cursed by Parvati to become a demon. So when Vritrasur and Indra were fighting each other, then Indra couldn't kill Vritrasur. He was cutting his body into so many pieces, but Vritrasur was like a huge mountain. His head was seen like in the sky and his feet were like way beneath the ground and his hands were like everywhere. So Indra became hopeless. Indra was like, I'm using my Vayu Vajra, I'm using my thunderbolt to kill him, but still I cannot find an end to him. So then Vritrasur told Indra, you can only kill me by one means. What is that? You go to Dadichi and you make a thunderbolt out of his bones. Because this Dadichi, he is a very powerful rishi, powerful yogi. By his austerities, he has concentrated all that Brahma Shakti within his bones. What is Brahma Shakti? It is a very essence of vitality in one's body. Especially, it is highly recommended for Tyagis, Brahmacharis, Sannyasis, that they must not lose that Brahma Shakti. As much as they can, they should conserve that Brahma Shakti. Not just Tyagis, even Grihasthas. The Brahma Shakti should be used only for procreation. And in the case of Tyagis, the Brahma Shakti should be used for what? The Brahma Shakti should be concentrated within one's own self and should be used to make one more and more advanced spiritually. Then he is a brahmachari. Or else he is a vyabhichari. One is a brahmachari if he is always controlling himself. If he cannot control himself, then he is losing his vitality, which is very shameful. He is like vyabhichari. And who is he fooling? He is fooling his own self. He is cheating his own self. So this way we say Dadichi, he was a Brahma Rishi. He had controlled his senses, everything. So when Indra went to him and he told him, I need something from you, then Dadichi, he knew Indra is very tricky. Indra is always asking this, give me that. Like he went to Karna in the form of an old Brahmin. And he told Karna in the morning, oh, I want something from you. What do you want? Oh, I want one of your weapons, this astra. He said, which astra? The main one, he said. Karna had kept that main weapon to kill Arjuna. No. Indra actually, he went to ask for his kavacha. He went to ask Karna's kavacha. Because Karna, he was blessed with this kavacha given by the sun god. So then he said, give me that kavacha. Because as long as Karna had that kavacha on, that shield, which was like embedded within his body, he couldn't be killed. So then he gave that kavacha away. So then Indra, he was very shameful on what he had done. Because as soon as he tried sitting in his Viman was not rising from the ground. So Indra knew I have committed some sin. Because my Viman is not going up. So then he said, oh, I'm so cruel, I took his kavacha away. So then he told Karna, I want to give you something in return. And Karna said, oh, give me your weapon, your Shakti, your shield. So Indra said, alright, but you can only use it once, he said. And any person you use it on, that person will not survive. So Karna had kept that for Arjuna. Ultimately, Katodraj, the son of Bhim, was killed with that. So what I mean to say was Indra, he always devises some newer and newer means to cheat people. So then he went to Dadichi. So Dadichi said, oh, what do you want? He said, I need you. I want your bones. Dadichi said, you want my bones? Then alright, you wait for me until I die. After I die, you can have my bones. He said, no, I need your bones while you're still living. While your life force is still circulating, while your pranvayu is still circulating within your bones, I need your bones. And he said, hey Indra, you are so cruel. You want to skin me alive. How can you even speak in such a way? And he said, all right, bring me some gold. Some gold is like some jaggery. You smear it on my body and bring one cow, 2 or 3 cows, and have them lick my body. And then gradually, as they lick my body, all my flesh will go away and only my bones will be left, and you can take my bones away. So Indra he took his bones away and he killed Ritrasura in that way. So we see even Dadiji's generosity was misused here. Even his generosity was misused. So therefore, even being generous in this world can sometimes lead to one's infamy. It can lead to one not being renowned. In fact, the opposite reaction can be seen. When Gurudev was operated in the Hinduja hospital in Delhi, very famous hospital, and Gurudev, the doctors, they requested Gurudev to speak some Harikatha. Because the doctors, they knew he was a very great sadhu. Because when they performed this heart operation on Gurudev, he was still chanting Harinam. So the doctors knew he was someone very special, someone very powerful. So the doctors, they requested him, Maharaj, kindly speak some Harikatha. So then Gurudev, he said, all right, all of you sit together and listen to me. So then Gurudev, he looked at all these doctors and he said, hypothetically, let's say there's one dacoit, one thief, very notorious daku, who is killing others for a living. He takes everyone's possessions away, he loots, he plunders. Let's say such a person, he's shot by the police and he comes to your hospital and you'll have to perform an operation to save his life. Will you do it? They said, yes, of course, we have to do it. It is our duty. Gurudev said, all right. You perform this operation, but once he becomes healthy again, then what will he do? He'll do the same thing again. He might escape from prison. He might start killing people in society again. So then who will be responsible for his actions? And they said, of course, he is responsible, not us. We just performed our duty of removing the bullet, cleaning his wound. How are we responsible? Gurudev said, you are responsible. You will also get a share of his sins. Because you made him healthy in the first place. So Gurudev said, you must be very careful in this world. Anything you do, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Because we see sin is of many kinds. There is kut, means those sins which are in latent position. There is beach, they are gradually sprouting up. There is prarabdha, the sins that we are experiencing, the reaction to the sins that we are experiencing in this present body. There is aprarabdha, that which we will experience in the future, waiting. So who will be responsible for all these things? The Baddha Jiva itself. So therefore, through all these examples, we see how generosity is not very helpful. Like Karna himself, in Karna's life, if you see, when Karna was dying, when he was on the battlefield, when he was dying, when there was nothing there on his body, that time an old Brahmin, he came to Karna. And he said, oh Thakur, oh Karna, Prabhu, kindly give me some charity. My daughter has to be married. I have nothing. Karna said, what can I do? I have nothing. No, look at me, I'm dying now. Even my kavacha, my weapons, I have nothing. And the Brahmin, he said, no, you'll have to give me something. So then he saw Karna's teeth were sparkling a little. There was some luster coming from his teeth. And he told Karna, oh, I see your teeth are made of gold. So teeth here, so maybe you can give me some of them. And Karna, he said, oh, okay, look how he is. So then he took his knife or something and then somehow he plucked his teeth out and he gave it to the Brahmin. So in this way, generosity which is not intended to satisfy Krishna will not yield a good result. Will yield a bad result as well. Or else even if it yields a good result, what will be the fruit? One will go to Swarga. He will go to heaven, he'll enjoy there nicely, and then what will happen? He'll again fall down into this material world. So this is Sangasiddha Bhakti. Sangasiddha Bhakti means all these qualities, they're only glorious if they're associated with the cultivation of Bhakti, Krishnanushilam, or else they are not so glorious. Like Gandhi, you see Gandhi spoke so much about non-violence. In fact, when the Hindus were being massacred in many places, like in Noakhali in Bangladesh, in Mopla, in Kerala, he told the Hindus, don't do anything. If they're massacring you, you be massacred, he said. This is the quality of a Hindu, to be always non-violent. Do not fight back. So Gandhi, he spoke many strange things in his life. No, but he's so celebrated for being non-violent. In fact, Swami Maharaj, he would have meetings in Jhansi where he would tell people that if there is a need, we have to protect ourselves as well. Because if there is an aggressor who wants to kill you, you have every right to protect yourself. Don't be foolish and resort to non-violence. So even such non-violence is like a useless quality. So therefore all these qualities like non-violence, truthfulness, forgiveness and all so on and so on, they will only have some value if they are connected with bhakti. Like for example, a devotee, a pure devotee, when he is known for being non-violent, it is very glorious. Like Gurudev would say, if someone is slapping you, you must know that that slap is coming to you. Why? Because of your previous karma. You have slapped him in your previous life, so he's slapping you back in this life. Don't go for tit for tat. Don't follow that philosophy. Know that this is your own karma. So here being non-violent makes some sense. No, it makes some sense at least. That all right, be Trinada, be Sunish. But there on the other side, being non-violent doesn't make any sense. Forgiveness. Forgiveness also, you see, if it is not used properly, then the forgiveness can destroy the entire civilization. Like in India, there was one king called Prithviraj Chauhan. He forgave one Muslim invader, Ghazni. He forgave him 17 times. Prithviraj Chauhan. One invader, Ghazni, he came from Afghanistan. 17 times he was defeated by Prithviraj Chauhan and he forgave him 17 times. And the 18th time he won Ghazni. And then Prithviraj Chauhan told him, hey, I forgave you 17 times, you can't forgive me even once. He said no. And then you see there is the single greatest mistake made by any Indian king, which led to the entire Mughal takeover of India, the Islamic takeover of India. So you can see, forgiveness also is so useless. But if it's for a Vaishnava, when a Vaishnava forgives, then it has some meaning. Like if one has committed an offense to a Vaishnava, he goes and falls at the feet of the Vaishnava. And he asks for forgiveness, saying, Prabhu, Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Daya Rasangu, Edase Karuna Kori, Diya Pada Chaya, Sodaya Amare, Tumara Charana Dhari. If he prays like this, then the Vaishnava will forgive him. Forgiveness has meaning then. So all these qualities, they only have some meaning if they are associated with bhakti. Sangha Siddha Bhakti. But what are we speaking of here? Sarup Siddha Bhakti. So when we are saying, when we are glorifying our Guru Varga, at the same time all these different anarthas, they are going away, and in our heart, this desire to cultivate Sarup Siddha Bhakti will arise. What is Sarup Siddha Bhakti? Means the very Sarup of Bhakti itself, which is not covered anymore by karma, jnana, yoga. Like we say in Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, karma is prominent, jnana is prominent, bhakti takes a secondary role. And in Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti, bhakti is prominent, but still karma and jnana are present as servants. We desire only Shuddha Bhakti. No, Sarup Siddha Bhakti. So in this way, gradually, Sarup Siddha Bhakti appears within our hearts. Like today's Ekadashi is called Vijay Ekadashi. I was just reading the Ekadashi book, published by Prabhuji. There he speaks about the history of Ambarish Maharaj. When Ambarish Maharaj was observing this fast, Ambarish Maharaj, where was he from? He was from Madhya Pradesh. He was from Ujjain, Ambarish Maharaj. So when Ambarish Maharaj came here to Madhupuri, Madhuvan, then we know that Durvasa Rishi, he came there, Ambarish Maharaj broke his fast, the whole thing happened. Durvasa Rishi, he released that demon, Kritya Rakshasi. And Ambarish Maharaj, he fell at the feet of Sudarshan Chakra, who had burned that demon to ashes. And then what did Vishnu say? He told Durvasa Rishi, Aham Bhakta Paradino, Hai Asatantra Ihad Dija, Sadhuvir Gasta Hridayor Bhaktair Bhakta Jana Priya. When Durvasa Rishi fell at the feet of Vishnu, saying, please protect me, Prabhu. And what did Vishnu say? Aham Bhakta Paradino. I'm completely subservient to the will of my devotee. Hai Asatantra Ihad Dija. Oh Dvija, oh twice born Durvasa, I am not independent, I am dependent upon them. Sadhuvir Grasta Hridayor Bhaktair Bhakta Jana Priya. The sadhu is always in my heart and I am always in his heart. Why? He has no desire other than the desire to please me, to satisfy me. So this way he prayed. So then Durvasa Rishi fell at the feet of Ambarish Maharaj. And Ambarish Maharaj, he said, oh, if I have committed any offense to you, can you forgive me? So this way, to commemorate this Leela, This Ekadashi is called Vijay Ekadashi. Means all glories to the Bhakta, to the Hari Bhakta. That even a great Brahma Yogi, like Durvasa, if you would tell any person you should die, immediately that person would die. Durvasa Rishi was so famous for his wrath, for his anger. No. He had an anger management problem. Durvasa Rishi. He had a huge anger management problem. No, anything he would say, he burned his 2 wives to ashes. There was one wife, she would keep talking. And Durvasa Rishi would say, why are you not silent? And you be silent for some time, I want to do my dhyan, my meditation. Then this lady kept talking, she wouldn't listen to him. Instead of you should burn to ashes. And he burned her to ashes. Then he got another wife. This wife also, he had a problem with her, he burned her to ashes also. Go away from here. He said, but Durvasa Rishi also, his wrath, his anger couldn't do anything. Tambarish. This is Vijaya Ekadashi. Also in the Skanda Puran, there is another nice history from the Skanda Puran regarding this Ekadashi. It concerns the Leela of Sri Ramchandra. It is said that when Ram, he was exiled to the forest, and he was first present in Chitrakoot, and when he came to Dandakaranya, Ravan, he took Sita away. So then Ram, searching for Sita, he passed through all the forests of Dandakaranya. He killed many demons like Kabanda, Virat. He met many rishis like Sutikshna, Sarabanga. And as he was proceeding south, he came to where? Kishkinda, Kimpurushwat, the birthplace of Hanuman. So there he met Sugriv, and he asked Sugriv that, do you know any whereabouts of Sita, the queen of Ayodhya? I mean, the soon-to-be queen. And Sugriv said, actually, when we looked up in the sky, we saw a very effulgent aeroplane. This was the aeroplane of Ravan, which he had taken away from Kuber. So there we saw one lady, she was crying. And one very, one Rakshas he had caught. One Rakshas he was making sure she couldn't give up her life, jump from the aeroplane. So then this lady, she dropped some jewels on the ground. So then Ram said, okay, show me those jewels. So then they bought those jewels and they showed him, why these are the jewels of my Sita. So then, mostly these jewels were the ones she was wearing around her neck, like necklaces, like earrings, and her rings. So Ram, he asked Lakshman, do you recognize any of these jewels of your mother? He said, no. Ram said, what? You don't recognize? He said, why not? He said, because I have not seen anything besides the lotus feet of my mother. Every time I would look at my mother, my gaze, my vision would only be fixed at her lotus feet. So I can identify her toe ring. Sometimes married women, they wear these toe rings. I can identify that, but I cannot identify any other jewel. So then Ram, he asked Sugriv, can you help me find my wife, Sita? Sugriv said yes. So then Sugriv, he sent one party to the west of India, one party to the north, one party to the south. So then the party to the south was led by Angad. So then Hanuman, he leapt across the ocean, he found out where Sita was, and he brought back another jewel, Chudamani, this thing that ladies wear on the parting of their hair. So then he gave Ram the confirmation that Sita is there. So then Ram, he decided to take all the soldiers, the Vanaras, and he decided to cross the ocean. But then he saw that the ocean was so deep. The ocean was so deep and filled with so many fearful creatures. Like the Timingil fish. Like the Timingil is a huge, you cannot even call it a shark. You cannot even call it a whale. It's something which is so huge which cannot even be conceived. It eats whales. Recently they found one shark which was half eaten in the ocean. There was a shark which was eaten, bit into half, a huge one. There was one shark, they put some tag onto the shark to monitor its movement, and the shark, it went diving deep down inside the ocean, and then all of a sudden it was swallowed by a huge creature that no one ever could identify. And the tag was still emitting some heat. So they say there are many unexplained occurrences in the ocean, filled with so many different dangerous creatures. It is said 95% of the ocean hasn't been explored. 95%. This way Ram, he told Lakshman that the ocean is filled with so many dangerous creatures. Also there were many Rakshasis protecting Lanka. So he said, how can we cross the ocean? Lakshman, my brother, tell me. So then Lakshman, he told Ram, there is one great sadhu residing nearby. Like only nearby. He is residing in a cave. Let's go and speak to him. So they went to the sadhu. So then, as soon as Ram entered the cave, then the sadhu, he saw Ram and he knew his life was successful. He worshipped Ram. He offered Arga, Padya, all these different things for Archan. Performed Pada Puja of Ram. Then he told Ram, Prabhu, you have come to see me. What can I do? How can I serve you? So then Ram, he explained the whole situation to the sadhu. Saying, say, I have to cross the ocean. So kindly help me. I have so many vanaras there, millions of soldiers. How can we cross the ocean? So then this sadhu, first he gently smiled. And he said, oh, just see, your Naravat Leela, your human-like pastimes. Although you are Bhagavan himself, you are coming and consulting me, asking me for advice. Prabhu, your Leela is very bewildering. I cannot fathom how mysterious your Leelas are. Because why does Bhagavan appear in this world? Anugrahaya bhaktanam, manusham deha ashrita, vajate tadrishi krida, yashutta tat paro bhavet. He comes in his human-like form to give mercy to all the devotees, and so that all the people of this world can listen to his Harikatha and be delivered. So Ram was performing his Naravat Leela. So then the Rishi said, all right, Prabhu, I do not wish to disturb your human-like pastimes, so I am ready to give you some advice. What is that advice? All your vanaras, all the soldiers of your army, these vanaras, they should observe this Ekadashi that appears during the month of Falgun. Means the month after Magh Mas. Now is the month of Falgun. So they should observe this Ekadashi during this time. No, this Krishna Paksha Ekadashi. They should observe it. So then he said, all right. Then Ram, he instructed all the vanaras that all of you, whole day, whole night, should not eat anything, should not drink anything. Whole night, all of you should only glorify Bhagavan. Ram didn't say glorify me, chant my names. He just said glorify Bhagavan. So then what do the vanaras do? Of course, they all started chanting Ram Nam the whole night. Just speaking Harikatha to each other and engaging in Hari Kirtan. So in this way, the whole night passed in remembrance of Sri Hari. The whole day, whole night, they didn't eat anything, only drinking this rasa. So in this way, then the next day, they observed this Paran. How did they observe Paran? How did they break their fast? They just washed Ram's feet and took their Charnamrit. No, Bhagavan is right there in front of him. When you break your fast, you're supposed to do an Abhishek of the Saligram Shila. You bathe them and you take Charnamrit. But here, Prabhu is right there in front of them. So then, Sugriv, Angad, Hanuman, all of them, they washed his feet. They took some water and broke their fast. This place is called, near Rameshwaram, there is a place called Dhanushkoti. Even now, the entire place, there's a small island there. The entire place is surrounded by the salty ocean. But at certain places, if you dig a little deep, you can get fresh water. Sweet water. Even now. Like Prabhuji always, he speaks about this. He went with all the devotees to South India, to Rameshwaram, to this place, Dhanushkoti. And all the brahmacharis were so thirsty. They wanted some water. So then Prabhuji started digging deep with his own hands. And then somehow he found water. Some sweet water. And he gave to all these devotees. Some of them, like in the temple, they even saw by their own eyes. And then, like your daughter. And then there were other devotees also who tried, but they only got salty water. They didn't get sweet water. So how did that sweet water appear there? How? Because they washed his feet, the vanaras there. They washed Ram's feet and they broke the fast. They did paran. And then to this day, the remnants of that Charnamrit is still present there. So then when they broke the fast, then the sadhu, he said, now all of you are blessed. Now all of you, what should you do? If you want to build a bridge, get Neel and Nal here. So Neel and Nal, they were like two architects. Neel and Nal, they knew how to build anything. But they were cursed by the rishis. Neel and Nal were very naughty when they were children. Anything they would see, they would throw it inside the water. No, like they would see the kamandalu of a sannyasi, they would take that kamandalu and throw it inside the water. They would take their beads, throw it inside the water. So the rishis were so angry at them, they cursed them that next thing you throw inside the water will never sink. It will always float. Neel and Nal received this curse. So the sadhu told Neel and Nal, you have this blessing which is not actually a curse. So any rock that you throw inside will not sink. It will float on the surface. So all of you, you write Ram's names on any number of rocks you can find. Mountains, boulders, rocks, cliffs. Bring it and build a bridge across the ocean to Lanka. So then this Ram Setu was built, which now is called what? Adam's Bridge or something. Now they, in modern times, they call it Adam Strait. They don't call it Ram Setu. It is said that they wanted to even cut the bridge so that the ships could go across. But then they didn't allow it. They said, the court, they passed a judgment saying don't touch the bridge. It's an archaeological monument. Even now in some temples, you can find certain stones, they have placed it which don't sink inside the water, which are still floating. If you go to the Gaudiya Math in Radhakund, this Kunjbihari Gaudiya Math, when you go for darshan of Thakurji, they have placed that stone right in front of Thakurji. Like they have like this huge glass case filled with water, and they put that stone on top, and you can see it floating. In Radhakund you can see. You don't need to go all the way there also. So in this way, this huge bridge was built. Ram went across, killed Ravan, rescued Sita, and in this way, the Ramayana gradually unfolded. So therefore we see here, through this Leela, Ram is teaching everyone that I myself instructed my Vanar Sena, my soldiers to follow Ekadashi. So why not all of you as well? You must also follow Ekadashi. Like we see in Braj, all the Brajvasis, Nanda Baba, Yashodamaya, Gopas, Gopis, they all followed Ekadashi. There is this place, Ambikavan, in Mathura, where all Nanda Baba and all the other Gopas, they stayed up the whole night following Ekadashi. They even followed Shivratri, the Brajvasis. And in Gaur Leela, in the Leela of Mahaprabhu himself, Mahaprabhu, how he showed everyone to follow Ekadashi. Even at the price of keeping Jagannath Mahaprasad very respectfully aside. Now when the Pandavas bought Jagannath Mahaprasad, there is a rule. As soon as you get Jagannath Mahaprasad, you're supposed to place it in your mouth very respectfully. But Mahaprabhu said, for now, just do Kirtan the whole night, and in the morning, when the time comes to break the fast, you can honor this Mahaprasad. So Mahaprabhu, by his own example, he told his own mother Sachidevi, that, oh mother, if you really love me, then you must do one thing for me. What is that? Follow Ekadashi. And our own Guru Varga, how they followed Ekadashi. Pujvat Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. More than 100 years old, he followed Ekadashi. Akinchan Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj followed Ekadashi until the last day of his life. And the standard of their Ekadashi was so high class. For 3 days they would follow Ekadashi. One day only eating fruits, the next day Nirjala, and the third day just taking para. Of course, for us it is not so easy, so we have to take some anukalpa. So in this way, they set the standard for us. No? Like once, one godbrother of Param Gurudev, he told Param Gurudev that in the Shastras it has been mentioned that the rule for following Ekadashi is that from the age of 8 to the age of 80, one should follow Ekadashi. Means if one is not 80 years old, means then there's no need to follow Ekadashi. And if it's one more than 80, there's no need to follow Ekadashi. So then Param Gurudev, he told this godbrother, who was more than 90 years old. This godbrother said, I'm more than 90 years old, should I still follow Ekadashi? Param Gurudev said, you've been following Ekadashi your whole life. Whole life you've been following Ekadashi, and now you don't want to follow Ekadashi. What kind of example will you be setting for the younger ones, for the younger devotees then? He said, no, always follow Ekadashi. Gurudev himself, Gurudev when he was very sick, in his Leela, when he was very sick, some of the devotees, they requested Gurudev that Gurudev will have to take something which is very healthy. Because you're so sick, you'll have to take something, even on Ekadashi. Or else the medicine will not be so beneficial, it will not work. You have to take something. So they fell at the feet of Gurudev and requested him so much. Gurudev, please, take something. Gurudev said no. Whole life I followed, and now you're telling me not to follow. But they said for the sake of your health, he said, no. Ekadashi concerns the soul, not the body. I will not take. So we see our Guru Varga, with their own example, they're teaching us how to follow this. But one thing we must know, Ekadashi does not mean only fasting from food and water. This is not Ekadashi. Ekadashi means Upavas. Upavas means what? Upa means Samip. Vas means to be near your Ishtadev. Means the whole day you're drinking this Hariras. No, this Harikatamrit. This is Ekadashi. No, Hari Kirtan. Or else if you're just fasting the whole day and you're not so much absorbed in Hari Kirtan, Hari Katha, then what is the use of following Nirjala Ekadashi? There is no use. In fact, Gurudev would say sometimes during Janmashtami, people would be following Nirjala Ekadashi in Mathura, and you can imagine in the month of like August, it is so hot. They're not drinking any water the whole day, they're just suffering. So Gurudev said, if this is the case, it would be better that you drink at least a little water, mix it with some lime, some lemon juice, mix it with some sugar. At least you drink a little water and you engage yourself in the temple activities. This is better, he said. Or else, what is the use of just fasting the whole day, lying down on your bed, completely weak? You cannot do anything. Better than this is that you at least take a little water, some lime juice, and then you engage in kirtan. This is much better than this, he said. No, so therefore, this is the true meaning of following Ekadashi. All your 11 senses, you engage in the service of Krishna. When Mahaprabhu was weeping, when Mahaprabhu went to the house of Jagadish Pandit and Hiranya, he was weeping so much. Why? Generally, the reason we hear is that Mahaprabhu wanted to taste this Mahaprasad that the two brothers had offered to Thakurji. But what was the real reason? The real reason that Mahaprabhu was weeping was because he wanted to accept those services that they were performing by their 11 senses. This is Ekadashi, Ekadash Bhav. By your 11 senses, all those services you are rendering, that is pleasing Bhagavan so much. So Nimai was weeping, saying, oh, I want to receive those services that you have performed by your 11 senses. Not that he only wanted to eat all those things that they had offered. No. Like Prabhuji, he would ask this question. Are the Brajvasis following Ekadashi Nitya Golok Vrindavan Dham? Are they following Ekadashi there? So we think, oh, Ekadashi is Vaidhi Bhakti. Why are they following Ekadashi there? The Raga mix. They are also following Ekadashi there. Why? Because by their 11 senses, they are just serving Radha and Krishna with this Ekadash Bhav. This is Ekadashi. No, this is Upavas. By this Ekadash Bhav, you are serving Radharani and Krishna as well, under her guidance. No, so Ekadashi is also present there. And in this book, you see, Prabhuji has shown the swarups of all the different Ekadashis. Like all these different paintings, pictures. So therefore, we'll stop here now. And Ekadashi, we see 26 Ekadashis every year. So if we can just reserve 1-2 days every month, continuously, in the remembrance of Krishna, if we can just allot this one day, then we're receiving such inestimable, incalculable benefit. And we'll progress so much, so spiritually. Bhaktivedanta Thakur would say, every Ekadashi you make an account. Every Ekadashi. Every 15 days you make an account. See how much you have progressed. See how much you have advanced. Or how much you have fallen back. Contemplate. How much Harikatha you have heard first 15 days, how much Hari Kirtan you have done, how many services you have rendered, how you have respected the Vaishnavas, how you have respected Thakurji, how you have offered yourself by body, mind, words. Contemplate every 15 days. Like a businessman. No, a businessman, what does he do? Every night he goes home and he sees how much profit and loss he has incurred. So we are also businessmen. No, we are also like trying to engage our lives in the service of Krishna. Every 15 days, judge. Make a judgment. How much have I advanced? So we'll stop here. So, falling at the lotus feet of Vijaya Ekadashi Devi, can hope that she helps us conquer these foes, these indomitable foes. Indomitable means nearly unconquerable foes. No, some days we become so hopeless with these anarthas. They seem unconquerable. We're trying so much. At the end of the day, we become so hopeless. We cannot conquer our lust, our anger, our greed. But Gurudev, he would say, if you fall down 1,000 times, you should stand up 1,000 times. Means every time you become hopeless when these anarthas attack you, don't become hopeless. Start afresh. Again, be hopeful. That all right, tomorrow's a new beginning. Tomorrow's a new day. Again, there's Mangalarti. I will begin again from tomorrow. Fix my mind. I will try not going back to square one. Again, I'll think, all right, tomorrow morning I'll wake up. Whatever anarthas have been attacking me, I will forget them. If they attack me again, no harm. But I will not leave this path of Krishna Bhakti. This is Nishchayata. No. Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dhairya. Tat karma pravartana. Sangat tyagat sato vritte sadbir bhakti prasiddhyati. You must have this determination. You must have this patience. That no matter what, I will not give up this line. Even if I have to die, even after give my body, I cannot give up this line. Only such determination will yield. Or else if one has a broken back, if one doesn't have any of that will, that determination, then how can he even progress 1 inch in this path? So Ekadashi Devi, she will give that determination, such fortitude, such sense of certainty for us to progress. Vijay Naam Ekadashi ki jai, Shri Hari Vasir ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gurudev Paramgurudev Prabhupada Pankade Guru Varga ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Shri Soparika Vrinda Gaur Nityanand Prabhu ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Vancha Kalpataru Yascha Kripasindra Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo